My guest, Bay Area native or was, headlining comedian and the host of one of the greatest podcasts out there, which is amazing. Let There Be Talk. Please welcome Dean DelRay. Hello, Dean. How are you?
What is going on, my man? How are you?
Dude, I'm doing how you're looking. Fabulous.
Excellent. That's all we can be, man. If we're above ground, we're doing fabulous.
Exactly, dude. Dude, couple things I want to talk about with you is being a comedian, which I love comedy. Your Let There Be Talk podcast, which is awesome. But first, I want to start off with you. I mean, grew up in the Bay Area, right?
Yeah, my whole life, man. Born in Yosemite.
Yosemite, huh?
Yeah.
It's funny. Someone told me, I think he's from Guerneville.
Guerneville. Nah, man. I was born in Yosemite.
Okay.
1966, man. I'm 55 years old. Mountain man.
Wow. Okay. Then Yosemite, when did you get up to the Bay Area? What's your whole deal?
We got to the Bay Area. Well, my parents divorced and then I moved to the Bay Area, but I would be at Yosemite like half and half because, I'd be up there for like Christmas, Easter, summers. So it was like a back and forth, for quite a few years. But school and everything in the Bay Area for sure.
So, what was your first experience in the Bay Area? Because, I met you during the ghost town days. You had your spaghetti Sundays, or what would you call it at the Stone? But
spaghetti Westerns night, yeah.
Spaghetti Western. But you've been around the Bay Area scene a lot, even the early formations, right?
I was playing music in the Bay Area until I was 35. So let's see, 35. I'm 55 now. So, I played in the Bay Area my entire life. First gig was one of those just kind of high school lunchtime, play one song. And then it got into trying to get into bands. I auditioned at one point for Vicious Rumors.
Nice.
I was like a kid. I thought I could do it. I remember I auditioned. I think the song was, I think it was One Way to Rock. I came in and did a cover and, those guys were like pro. I didn't know what I was doing. Then I joined some guys in the Bay Area and we started, I had a metal band for a long time called AKA and played metal for a while and then rock, ghost town. And then eventually full on kind of roots Americana rock and roll, anything from Tom Petty, Springsteen, Wilco. Once the alt country scene hit, I was off and running on that.
So you played music until you were 35. When did you leave the Bay Area? You were up into the Bay Area to what point?
Well, I left the Bay Area when I was 35. That's what I'm saying. I still played music for a few years. And then it just kind of, after 25 years, it just kind of had ran its course, once the illegal downloading came in and everything, It was like, well, I was touring and selling CDs and making a good living. And then once that kind of fizzled out, you're not making a lot of money touring because there's so much expenses. So you need the CDs and the merch and everything. It was just kind of, I could see the writing on the wall. It's really hard to keep band members. Once you get to a certain age, guys got to make money. So they're playing in four or five bands and I get it, so I did a full couple tours solo acoustic, which was great. And during that time, it was kind of storytelling and I could feel out that, maybe I would do a one-man show like Rollins. I was really inspired by Rollins. I loved his spoken word tours. I saw him many times and they blew my mind. And I thought, well, maybe I'll do that. And then I never got around to that because I just didn't know where you would do that. So I started selling motorcycles at Harley and then my whole life changed.
Now, all your years of being in a band, a musician, a singer, was comic, being a comedian ever in those formative years? Were you always thinking about it?
No, I was thinking about it when I was young. When I was young, I was way into Saturday Night Live. I was way into Richard Pryor, George Carlin. I would go see these guys when I was young. I would go see live comedy, and I wanted to do it, but I didn't know how to do it. There was no kids doing comedy back then. There was no Eddie Murphy, or Chappelle was, he started when he's 14, but he wasn't in my neighborhood or something. So
Yeah.
I didn't know where you would go to do that. Now they have like YouTube and camps and schools and all kind, UCB stuff like that. They didn't have that stuff. So I was playing music with neighbor kids and stuff. And then 25 years went by. But when I
Yeah.
was young, to me, comedy was the same as rock and roll. You would
I
listen,
agree. I
yeah,
agree.
you'd listen to a Pryor record, and then you would put on a Scorpions record, and then you would put on a Carlin record or Cheech and Chong, and then you would put on a Def Leppard on Through the Night. So they were the same. There was no difference to me. Those guys were outlaws, man. Belushi, come on.
Yeah, totally. Like, when did you decide, like, when did the transition from music to comedy happen?
Well, what happened was there was no real transition. I had stopped playing music, living in LA, and I was like, well, here I am. I was 40 years old, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life? Well, I love motorcycles. So I got a job at Harley Davidson. All right. I'm working there, and 3 years in, Quentin Tarantino's people come into the dealership, and they're like, we're doing a motorcycle film called Hell Ride. Remember those Grindhouse films that,
Yeah.
so they go, we need a guy that would help us, be an advisor on the film. Would you do that? And I said, sure, I'll do that. I love Tarantino. I mean,
Yeah.
big time. I was blown away. So I was helping them pick like outfits and motorcycles and some of the lingo and just stuff that wouldn't be, biker. And then they said, hey, we think we got a role for you. So I landed a role in this movie as Ape Shit, which is hilarious. And I'm acting opposite of Michael Madsen and Dennis Hopper. Now,
Wow.
Dennis Hopper is my all-time, I think, the high watermark of Hollywood, the best at every. I mean, this guy was an amazing actor. He only did great films. He was a killer photographer. He loved architecture and art and everything about Dennis Hopper. To me, he was an outlaw. That guy, I wish he was my father, So here I am in a film with this guy, and I'm like, this is insane. So from that movie, I landed an Ice Cube movie called The Long Shots, which is a football movie about the first girl ever to play Pop Warner football. True story.
I gotta watch that. I gotta watch that.
Yeah, it's like a kid's kind of fun, a soft version of like the Bad News Bears.
Okay.
And now I'm in a movie with Ice Cube, who's to me was responsible for my love of like gangster rap. And I thought the next after metal was kind of phasing in the 90s, it was kind of phasing out a little bit. Boom, here comes NWA and Public Enemy in my life and on all that. And I was like, oh wow, these guys are the new metal. So now I'm doing a film with him. And in that movie, there were 3 comedians, a guy named Michael Collier, a guy named Earthquake, and then the famous Garrett Morris. Now I'm full circle from Saturday Night Live, the first cast members, And so we're doing this film. It's kind of a comedy and we're riffing. And I told the guys, I go, yeah, I kind of like to try comedy. And they're like, man, you're too old. Get out of here. You ain't gonna do no comedy. You're 44, man. And after shooting the film a few weeks, Earthquake pulled me aside and he said, man, I think you could do it. You got some good ad-libbing chops. Hit up some open mics when you get home and just start doing it. And if you do it, hit me up in about a year. I got a show at the Union in LA and I'll put you on. Well, I got home and I hit the ground and I did 298 shows that year. And I went and looked him up at the end of the year. I said, hey, I'm here. And he was like, oh, I didn't think you were really going to do it. And I've been doing it ever since, almost 5,000 shows.
Wow, dude. What was it like to go up there? Do you remember the first time you hit open mic?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did a show at the Hollywood Improv, and it was one of these shows called So You Wanted to Do Comedy. You know, it was like something like that. And it was basically this show where you sign up and it'd be like a divorced wife, uh, a construction guy that I'm funny, a couple of college kids, an actor who, his agent told him to try comedy. It was just a gamut of people that were trying it. And I remember I went on, it was sold out because all my friends came. And there was all kinds of people there. Like producer Ross Robinson was there and Bill Fold from Coachella. They were there. You could hear them laughing. But I went on and I smoked it, man.
Good.
I had a killer set. But the second show I did 2 days later, I ate a dick.
Yeah.
Because I got home and I studied the recording, every second of it, because I record every set. And I just went on like a robot and mimicked exactly what I did. And it was just horrific. I wasn't in it. And it was terrible. It was terrible.
Did you ever get booed?
I got booed. This great story. I got booed opening for the Rival Sons at the Fillmore last year. And,
really?
Yeah. And it was, I was 4,500 shows in. So it was that old mentality of boo the opener. Remember that one where kids just boo? So the bass player, Dave Bestie, comes on. He goes, well, all right, we're going to be out in a few minutes, but we're going to bring on a friend of ours, a funny comedian from the Bay Area, Dean DelRay. Now, in the dressing room is Bob Weir, who I fucking worship, right? And Bob Weir, before the show's like, I can't wait to see you, man. I love comedy. It's great you're in here. This room's got bones. And he's given me all the history of the Fillmore. I had played the Fillmore many times, but he's given me amazing, amazing stories. I mean, that guy built that place. And so I walk on and he's up in the, at the Fillmore, they got the Lincoln booths.
Yeah.
He's at the first one above the monitor board. And I walk on and they're just like, boo, boo. Like, it's like a group of like 8 dumb old white dudes, that they're like in their 50s. Yeah, we boo the opener. Boo. And I can see everyone out there, friends and everything, because they didn't even turn down the lights. It's like full bright in there. And I start doing bits and it's fucking, I'm eating it. And I'm like, I'm eating it in front of Bob Weir. This is terrible. And Rival Sons, they invited me on this tour and I'm eating it. And so I'm trying to stay in it. And then the one guy goes, go home. And I said, hey man, I am home. You need to go home back to fucking Pinole because you can't afford to live in San Francisco, you piece of shit. Look at you. You ain't got no money. This town ain't for you. And I start ripping on him, right? And the crowd starts laughing and I just start destroying him. And while I'm doing that, I'm ripping on his dumb buddies too. One guy had a horseshoe haircut and I'm like, shave your head. Nobody likes a horseshoe. You dumb, quit holding on. And I'm ripping on him. I don't even remember the stuff I'm saying. And I start turning it around.
Yes.
And I start turning it around. Now the audience is like, oh, this guy ain't afraid of shit, man. And they start listening. And I start doing bits and I start killing. And I turned it around in a 15-minute set from booze to full on house eruption. And I got that from 2 things. One, from doing the years of work on open mics. And when you do the work, every situation. You're like, oh, I've been here, shitty drunk dudes. Oh, I've been here. The Raider game's on and they turn it off and, time for comedy. I've been here where people don't care about whatever. I've been there. I've done all types of situations. And 2, studying early on Bill Burr and the famous Philly rant. That's how I discovered Bill Burr. was I was on the road my first year in, and my buddy, I said, who's your favorite? And he goes, Bill Burr. And I go, never heard of him. And he played me this Philly rant. And it's basically where Bill goes on and he starts shitting on the crowd because they booed Dom Irrera before him. And he's got to do 15 minutes. And if you've not seen this, it's one of the, it's the heavyweight, it's that Rumble in the Jungle, Muhammad Ali, you know, it's just stay in, fuck you. I ain't going nowhere. I do this for a living, you fucking assholes. And I learned so much from that video and my own stage time that when it came to me, I was ready to go, you know?
Man, I do want to get to Bill Burr, but going back a little bit, what you just said, you actually used the negative energy against them.
Right.
And with the crowd roaring, that kind of gave you like, okay, I'm getting my mojo back. It's like, I look at like comedy and being a musician, it runs parallel. You know what I mean? Like when you started with open mics, it reminds of a band chopping their teeth in the clubs, you know,
right,
building up. And yeah, you may not be the greatest you'll have good shows and you'll have bad shows. You just got to get up and brush off and work on your craft and keep going. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, you're going to lose when the comic has amplified microphone. Okay. So the guy might get in one shot, but what he forgets is he may think he's funny from the construction yard where his buddies know him and they laugh. But when there's a professional comedian who has been on stage for 10 solid years and really 35 years, if you count music, because I've had some shit when you played music opening for big bands, you know, when you've been on that long, you are going to lose. And I don't understand why somebody would even try that. Now, I never really get hecklers because of how I look, I think, you know, tattooed up and shit. But, you know, people think like, I'm going to throw this out. I'm going to get them. And you're not going to get them, man. You'll lose, first of all, from the power of the microphone, especially at the Fillmore, man. And the level of comfort I was in, it was like, I'm getting paid either way if I bomb or kill. Yeah, it's going to be embarrassing that I bombed in my hometown in the greatest theater in America, but I'm going to get on tomorrow night and I'll forget about it, you know?
Insane, dude. I mean, like I said, comedy and metal or being a band runs parallel. Like when you opened up for Bill Burr, right?
Yeah.
You did some shows. Like to me, Bill Burr is a huge comedian. He sits up there with Dave Chappelle, in my opinion. He's one of the greatest. It must be hard to prepare material and open up for someone like Bill Burr, because we went on tour with Slayer and you're like trying to pick a set list to go, how is this going to go over with the Slayer crowd, and just to go out there and kill it. Do you have the same problem? Like you have to figure out what material you got to use and how's it going to go over with a Bill Burr crowd?
I don't really have the problem is opening for bands, opening for comedians. I mean, if you have done the work, you're going to get them. You have jokes, you know, they work, you're confident in it. And Bill's not going to hire me if I'm not ready. He's not going to be like, let's bring a dude out and throw him to the lions, you know?
Yeah.
I opened for 3 weeks for Alice in Chains, toughest gigs ever. And I knew it was going to be hard, but I wanted to do it in case I wrote a book later in life. And I wanted to do it for the memories. And I absolutely love Alice in Chains. So that kind of stuff is really hard. Opening in for bands and also playing rooms that aren't really set up for comedy. Like I did the Viper Room a few times where the people are just standing there with their beers. Yeah. You know, and you got to be sitting down to watch comedy. You got to be engaged. If you're standing there and then a guy bumps into you, you're not watching now, just even for a second. If you miss a second of a setup, you're like, oh, hey, what's going on, dude? Yeah, this guy's kind of funny. Anyway, and you turn, you've missed part of a joke. And then when I drop the punchline, nothing. So you have to have focus from the crowd. That's why there's no cell phones in a comedy club, you know?
That's awesome. I wish you could do that for live music, but oh well.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, what is tougher, being a front man or being a comedian?
A comedian, 100%, because it's just you. You know, you roll into town and you got a bad gig and you got a band, you just look at each other and go, turn it up. Let's get out of here and get on the bus. And you just play through the songs. You're not relying on laughter. You get into a town and your jokes aren't working and you think you got 1 hour of material. Well, that's all based on long laughs and laughs, you know, not long laughs, just laughs. So if you're not getting laughs, your 1 hour could quickly turn to 20 minutes. And all of a sudden you're like, I still got another 35 minutes or so to go. And I'm out of shit. And then you start digging in. That's when you start seeing comics do this shit. So where are you from? Where are you from? You know, that kind of stuff. They're just trying to find it. Like that stuff is so brutal when you're starting out. You're just like, oh my God, I got so much time left. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, it must be nerve-wracking because, like you said, you're by yourself. They introduce you, welcome to the stage, and you're like, okay, man, let's see how this goes.
Yeah,
that must be like nerve-wracking. At least with a band, you have other dudes where you have company.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you just, with band members, you're just like, this sucks. And you just go, all right, welcome to the third floor, you know, fucking move on, you know. But with comedy, also comedy, the weirdest thing about comedy is the first 1 minute you're on.
Really?
Yeah, because you get up there and it's like, okay, it's always the weirdest thing. A lot of people could be strangers in the room and you're like, hey, what's going on? You know, what's going on? It's like, we know what the fuck's going on. We're here, make us laugh. So to get into a set is the weirdest thing there is. So usually, you know, I go off the Bill Hicks thing, have the act as the last thing that you use, you know, try to stay up there as long as you can before you switch into material. Not necessarily crowd work, but I learned a thing from Springsteen when I was playing music. He would roll into the town. He still does it. And he would get the town newspaper and he would read from front to back and he would know what's going on in that town or city. So you watch Bruce, he'd be mid-set, he'd be like, I know about the diamond shop that closed and Harold, you know, he's like, Harold was out there and the struggles with the people at the diamond factory. You know, I don't, you know, I'm just making something up, but the crowd would be like, whoa, he knows about the diamond factory, you know? So a perfect example, like if I'm in Denver, I notice that everyone drives a Subaru, everyone. So my opening was like, hey, enough of the Subarus. And the crowd just erupts, you know, because I called for an Uber. He goes, I'm in the black Subaru. I'm like, fuck you. There's 8 of them in the parking lot. Which black Subaru? You know, set yourself on fire. Then I know where you're at, you know?
Dude, so that's kind of cool to hear that, like, when you go into town, you kind of find material in that town while you're there that day.
Oh, the first thing I ask him is weed legal here? Okay, maybe I got some weed material, legal weed. Oh, no, it's not. Or yeah, it just got legalized. All right. You know, where's the bad neighborhood? What's considered the bad part of town? If you know, that way you got that in your chamber. If some guy's ripping, you're like, oh, you're from Forestville. Oh, I get it. Then the crowd's like erupting, like, how the fuck did he know about that? You know? And one time I was doing a gig in Fresno and I was ripping on a guy and I was like, head back to Modesto, dude. That's where you're supposed to be. And, you know, when you just have shit like that, it, you know, you're getting into it in the hotel room. You're starting to feel the vibe of the town and you know, whatever club you're at and the mall that they throw you in or whatever, you start to get a feel for it. And it keeps you kind of original too, I think.
Gotcha. Now, getting back to metal, what comedians are into metal? Have you met any comedians that blew your mind? Like, oh, you like metal and rock? What the fuck?
Oh, well, that's how I became friends with Burr, you know, and you know, Jim Florentine, of course.
Of course.
So many guys are into metal. I mean, Burr loves metal. Marin's not a big metal guy, but he loves music. So we talk a lot of music. It's Don Jameson, I mean, the metal comics,
Yeah.
because they're out there and they're waving the flag. It's funny, when I started comedy, people were trying to give me advice. They're like, you should be the biker comic. Yeah, be the biker comic, because I rode a motorcycle to all the gigs. And then other people are like, you got to be the rock and roll comic. Nobody's doing that anymore. And I was like, I don't want to be any of that. I want to be a comic.
Yeah.
I don't want to be boxed in. If somebody doesn't like metal and I'm the metal comic, then they're not going to come see me. Or if they, are, biker comic, then you're just doing like Sturgis every year. I don't want to get boxed into shit. I just want to be a funny comedian. That's it.
Well,
so
dude,
for the first year, I wore long sleeve shirts the first year. I
really?
just didn't want to be the tattooed metal guy up there, because I didn't want anything here to judge what was coming out of my mouth,
Gotcha.
When you walk on, they're like, oh, look at this fucking guy,
Yeah, they already automatically assume something.
Right. So, just go up as just a regular person and see if the jokes work. Later on, I mean, fuck, I opened I did a festival with Metallica a couple years back, and it was fucking fierce. And I have so much metal knowledge and shit. I was killing, but I was never booked as the metal comic. So it was great to have that in your, in your holster, as far as more bullets in the chamber, having all different types of flavor.
Yeah. Just like some bands don't want to be pigeonholed to a genre. They want to just write. You get what I mean? They
That's
just want to be
man.
a band.
Plus, I love metal, but at the same time, I was listening to metal growing up. I was listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I was listening to all kinds of R&B and soul. I love that stuff. I was listening to Kraftwerk. I worship Devo. I was all about Devo, so I was all over the board. I was never just one thing. I played metal and loved metal, but I would have easily loved to have been in a band, kind of like a Love Bone, like a soul rock kind of thing. That was always my dream, to play a soul rock, like a Marcus King now.
Wow, man. Now, damn, you're talking all this good stuff that I'm getting lost in it, bro. You did a lot of open mics and whatnot. What was your first big break that kind of got you out of the open mic scene?
Well, I mean, I even open mic now.
Really?
Yeah, because so you're never really out of the scene. And I learned that from the pros, man. If you look at some of the best comedians, they're going to drop in on some of the worst shows. They need to see if this material works everywhere. And they also need to work material anywhere they can. So you're never really out of that. You're just not doing it 7 days a week, because now you're doing shows. But I will easily do an open mic. I've been in towns on tour, and then somebody say, hey, we got like a show at midnight. You want to come do it after? And I'll go do that just to work some new shit. But my real big break 100% was Mark Maron having me on WTF podcast. And at the time, I had only been doing comedy 3 years, and he had never had an unknown person on the show. So the next day, the entire planet knew who I was. As far as his world was massive, and it was the right crowd to be introduced to, because they love books and music, and they love like food. They're like all over the board. When you open for a Marin, you could go all over the board with your material. They're way into all kinds of stuff.
So did that podcast open up? Because I saw a clip of you on Conan. Did that open the door for you to get into Conan and all the other cool stuff?
No, it just kind of let people know who I was, but there was no real door opening. You have to like earn it. There's no like, well, you were on WTF, so you're good to go. You're made. That's not how it happens. What happens is, if anything, it put a massive microscope on me, to where people are like, who the fuck is this guy? Let's see if he's even funny. Why does he get to do WTF? I'm way funny. It got into that kind of nonsense of competitiveness, which is weird to me, because I'm just enjoying doing comedy. I'm you know, I love everybody in the game. It's like, hey, if you have a problem, that's probably on your own thing, you know. But Conan came later, and Conan was a dream come true. I, of course, growing up, I wanted to be on Johnny Carson playing music. Johnny Carson retires. Okay, I'm playing music. Now I want to be on David Letterman. David Letterman retires. I start doing comedy. I've always loved Conan from the day he started because he's an underdog. And I always feel I'm an underdog in the comedy world starting so late at 44 years old. Conan came out. People were like, who's this guy? Fuck, this guy's no good. And I'd watch him and I was like, this guy's outside the box. This guy is funny. This show is weird. They don't even know what they're doing. And fast forward years later, he becomes a complete master of the late night. They steal the Tonight Show from him, totally fuck him on that. He still soldiers on, and he has given so many comedians so much opportunity. So when I got the call to do Conan, I sent in a set and they said, you want to do Conan? I was on tour with Burr at the time. And I said, yeah, when? And they go Monday. And I was in Atlanta on Atlantic City, sorry, on Friday night. And I go, you mean this Monday? And they go, yeah. And I go, oh, fuck. All right, I'll see you there. And Burr got off stage. I go, fuck, dude, I'm doing Conan. I got Conan. And we celebrated. And I flew to LA and did Conan. At the time I was living in New York. So it was wild, man. It was wild.
In the middle of a tour, you flew out to LA. Did you have to fly back to continue the tour?
No, what happened was we were doing Atlantic City. This is the weirdest fucking story. We were on the middle of a run. So Burr will go out and he'll do like 5 different cities, or Marin, they'll do like 5-10 cities. And we were on the run, and Atlantic City was the last night. It was a Friday night. So I got off stage. I told him I'm doing it. And then he goes, I'm going to fly to LA. I lived in New York at the time. So I drove my rental car to New York, dropped it off, woke up the next day and went to the Comedy Cellar, and the Cellar put me on 7 shows that night. Cause they do they do like 14 shows a night at the Cellar, cause they all sell out. So I did 7 in a row. I ran the 5 minutes over and over and over. Then I went home, went to bed, woke up at 6 a.m., flew JetBlue to LA, got into the hotel room, took a nap, went to the Comedy Store, did a set. And then the next morning we did Conan, and all my friends came. I was like a rapper. I showed up with Marin. Marin was on the episode with Bert Kreischer. So it's Bert Kreischer, Marin, and me. And Marin's on there promoting Glow. Kreischer's on there promoting his new Netflix special, and I'm doing comedy. So it was like the Comedy Store had taken over Conan. And I went on and did the 5 minutes, and all my friends were there. People flew in from San Francisco and stuff, and it was epic. And then about six weeks later, I did the LA Forum with Bill Burr.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. And Burr, he gets equipment delivered to the LA Forum for us to jam. So we can play during sound check music to see, you know, like Zeppelin, man. That's our life. Like Zeppelin, man. They fucking rock this. And Conan came down and played with us.
No way. Bert, and Conan.
Yeah. And Conan did Creep by Radiohead. And Conan kills it on guitar. He's a full rockabilly guy. And he's rocking Stray Cats. He's killing it, man. And we had Mark Agnesi from Gibson there, and Burr on drums, and my buddy Andrew Thimilis, and I think Billy was there from Jet Boy, but it was great. So we jammed all day, and then we did the show, sold out LA Forum, and it was one of the greatest sets I've ever had, man.
Was it just you and Burr?
And Joe Bartnick, another guy, the 3 of us. And Bartnick tours. Bartnick's a big rock guy too. I was breaking up there for a minute. Bartnick's a big rock guy too. He's a comedian that works with Burr also.
Well, that's cool. You mean, I'm going to go to Bill Burr because I'm a huge fan of Bill Burr. I think that dude's amazing. Yeah. Cool to kind of have, like, you're both comedians and you both have shared the same similar interest in music too. You know what I mean? You got to jam at the LA Forum, for Christ's sakes, you know? Oh yeah, we're gonna jam, then we're gonna do our skit. That's killer.
Burr and Marin have helped me so much. Bill Burr and Mark Maron are just like they're just golden friends, man. I mean, if I got anything out of comedy, it was these great friends in my mid 40s, early 50s to have great, scratch them being fucking superstar legend comedians or whatever you think, scratch all that. To have a couple great friends in LA, and I've got a handful from comedy, is gold in LA, especially during COVID when it was fucking dark and lonely, and you're in LA and you don't have family or anything, and you have somebody like Burr or Marin call you and go, "Hey, don't worry about anything. I got you if there's any problems." That kind of friendship is unreal. And I got that from comedy. So in my eyes, they had helped me so much. I was like, how can I give back to these guys? How can I do it? So I refired up that Bon Scott tribute and started doing it once a year. And I was having Burr and Marin play with their idols, like Brad Wilk and Nikki Sixx and Larry from Primus and Juliette Lewis and Greg Dooley from the Afghan Wigs and Scott Ian, just fucking my right hand man, Billy. Anyway, I got it to where Bill is playing with his people on posters in his bedroom. Rudy Sarzo, man, he's over there fucking rocking with Rudy Sarzo, so it's my way to give back to them. And their minds are blown. They're like, I can't believe it. And I'm like, that's how I feel when I'm on tour with you, dude. I can't believe it. So it's a fucking give back to you, man. It's a no brainer for me to do this. So we did the last one, March 10th, one day before LA lockdown. And it was insane. We do it once a year. Just crazy, dude.
Dude, if the world opens up, I'd love to see that, man.
Oh, you got to see it, man. You got to see it. So here's what we do.
Okay.
We do an hour of comedy first. It's me, Burr, Marin, Joey Diaz has done it. Rogan has done it. We go, Jeselnik has done it. And we go out and we do an hour of comedy. We split it up, 15 minutes each guy. Then we clear the stage for 30 minutes. I show like a Bon Scott tribute movie that I've made. And then we come out and we fucking play a record. So one year we did Power Age. Another year we did Highway to Hell. But this last year we did the Let There Be Rock set list, the tour from the Highway to Hell tour. And man, it was smoking. Scott from the Rival Sons. Oh, Josh Z is the Angus of the squad and just crushes it. And it's nuts, dude. I can't even tell you. There's video of it all over YouTube, all over.
Where do you hold this at?
We do it at the Avalon, which used to be that the Palace in LA, across the street from Capitol Records. It's a beautiful theater. And I wouldn't do it any other place because the Avalon has all these screens now where you can do all this digital art and everything. So we've got the whole place covered in Bon Scott photos, different ones all over. Anywhere you're getting a drink, you look up like, whoa, Bon, a day on the green, crazy. You're taking a piss, you're like, whoa, Bon, Highway to Hell tour. You go into another room, it's like, well, look at this, Bon and Malcolm fucking, on the Let There Be Rock film. It's covered in Bon.
Dude, getting back, that's cool. What you're giving back to these comedians, they go, dude, I can't believe it. And you go, that's how I feel the same way. That's awesome, dude.
That's so true, dude. So true.
Dude, if everyone was like that in like the entertainment business, like giving back and paying forward, we'd be in a better place. You get what I mean? Mentally and all that.
I don't understand people that say this. Fuck that guy. When they say that because somebody has something that you don't got and you want. To me, and I just talked about it with this spiritual guru lady, Byron Katie, who I'm producing her podcast. And really, when someone says that, what they're doing is they're letting you know that you're letting them know that they're fucking lazy and they're not doing the work and they're not grinding. So instead of saying, you know what, I'm a piece of shit, I should put that weed down and these video games, write some more songs or jokes and just get out there and keep grinding. But they don't. They just go, yeah, well, you know, he sucked a dick to get there and that old bullshit, instead of just, you know, casting it on yourself going, man, I just don't have the work ethic of that guy. And it's sad because I don't have any enemies except cancer and heart attacks. Those are my enemies.
Yeah.
And everybody else, man, you know, I always say promote what's great, not what you hate. And it is tough. It is tough. Jealousy is a tough thing to battle, but you know, you have to just enjoy where you're at. And if it's shitty, you're like, God, this sucks. I got to change it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like we talked earlier before we got on, like you did a quick change. You were diabetic at one point, and today marks 5 years of you not having sugar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations, dude.
Thank you, man. It's I mean, I was fucking fat as fuck, man. I got up to like 200 pounds. I look at photos, I'm like, whoa. And I would have been dead, especially during COVID. If I didn't get that diabetes or go get tested, I would have been dead, because COVID attacks the fatties first, the diabetics and the high blood pressure. So I would have been dead because I got COVID back in March. If I didn't change my diet, it would have been a brutal death right there.
Man, well, I'm glad you did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know why I did? Because I found something I love more than sugar, and that's stand-up comedy. So you got to make the choice, man. Yeah. And it's hard for people to change because they're not happy. So that's the hardest thing. You're like, well, how do you do that? Well, I'm pretty happy in my life doing comedy, so I can do it. I want to do comedy, and you can't do comedy missing a foot. You know,
that's true. You know what? That's I try to look at that as the new success, health and happiness.
It is, man. It is.
Because if you're healthy and happy, you can pretty much achieve a lot of things.
Well, to achieve that is all you need to do.
Yeah.
Forget about everything else. You know what I mean?
Once you get to that point, everything's like easy. You get what I mean? Not easier.
Right.
Basically.
Oh yeah.
You just feel good. You just release these energies, and
hell yeah.
That's what I'm trying. I'm healthy as of right now, and I'm fucking pretty happy in my life.
Hell yeah.
Except for my lazy co-host right there, dude, you know? But other than that, you know, life is good.
Yeah, it is good. It is good. And you learn that from COVID.
Yes.
Being in lockdown, I think that it'll teach a lot of people of don't say I'll catch you next time when Death Angel comes through, because there may not be a next time. Get the babysitter, do what you got to do, man. When my favorite band came into San Francisco or Oakland, I didn't give a fuck what I was doing. I was going to that show. There was not going to be a next time. There was going to be again. I'm seeing these guys again and again and again, you know? So I hope a lot of people learn from this of I'll catch you next time, because COVID's a perfect example. There may not be a next time.
I agree with you. You know, I was thinking about that the other day, you know, because, you know, reflecting on, you know, checking out, you know, I'm pretty sure you read Blabbermouth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't help but read the comments sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you see all these people reminiscing. They sound better back in the day, this and that. The 80s were great. But I look at it as I get where they're coming from. You know, okay, I get it. But, you know, the way I look at it is those times are over. I'm glad I lived it. Let's appreciate what's going on now and hoping for tomorrow, because like you said, there may not be a next time.
Well, you know what I call those people? I call them hair metal tumbleweeds. And that's what they are, man. They're just blowing around their town like, what happened? There's no good music anymore. You know, I remember whenever somebody says, I remember, or back in my day, I just walk away from them because they are not thinking forward. You know what? I love Def Leppard High and Dry. Okay, well, they don't play nothing on that. I'm going to find the next band. I'll find the newer. People are like, the Black Crows don't have any of the original fucking. I go, you know what? I got a new Black Crows. I saw them during all that great era. Now I'm moved on. I'm listening to Marcus King. I'm not rivaling in band drama, who's in the band, whatever. I'm finding something new and I'm searching out exactly when I first saw Death Angel and first time I saw Metallica, I'm looking, oh, what's this? Gojira. Oh, fuck yeah. Keep moving. Keep moving on. Don't sit there and on chat boards and destroy people that are trying to just keep doing art, because there's people out there that love them no matter what. It's crazy.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you see that in comedy too, where people go, man, Dave Chappelle. Yeah. I'm pretty sure people go, he ain't no Richard Pryor, he ain't no Eddie Murphy, but
I don't see that much in comedy because really? I think there's not chat boards like, let's be honest. I had a guest on a few days ago, Evil Joe, one of the greatest producers going right now. And he said, Metallica, he made a comment about Metallica, this album sounds like this, but he said that the people mastering them are fucking them up now. You know what I'm saying? And basically these websites like to turn shit around so they can get clicks to sell ads. Yep, exactly. That's all they give a fuck about. So they start fabricating drama amongst bands. And then a band like Metallica will be like, hey man, why would Evil Joe say that? And it's like, Evil Joe didn't say that. Just take the 5 minutes to listen to the episode. We were worshiping Metallica beyond. We were saying that mastering guys are trying to do tricks that are ruining maybe the original recordings and shit. And so it's all about selling clicks. They don't give a fuck if they're ruining friendships or breaking up bands or anything. That's all they care about is selling clicks.
Yeah. Don't you hate that, man?
It's gross to me. It's gross to me because what'll happen is guests will stop coming on the show because they'll be like, I just don't really want to come on there and deal with the clickbait and the comment section. Yeah. And it'll be sad because it'll be a sad world when we don't have guys on and we can hear about their careers. And look, man, there's bands out there that I think are great and have made some bad records and then made great records. Metallica's last record is one of the greatest records they've made in like 25 years. That's incredible to me. If they listened to people's comments and broke up years ago, we wouldn't have fucking Spit Out the Bone,
Yeah. Dream No More.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just sad to me because, we need to learn from these people when they go on. That's why I like when Hetfield goes on and he talks about his struggles with drugs and his demons and shit. And, people are like, oh man, I don't need some kind of monster with a psychiatrist and shit. What, you didn't learn from that? You fucking dummy. That shit was real. And you could say all you want, but at the end of the day, I always say, fucking Lars was right.
Dude, exactly.
That's all I say.
Now we're going full circle back to music. Your podcast, Let There Be Talk.
Yeah.
I've listened to a lot of them. You have some great guests, dude. I mean, you had AC/DC on there, all
the
members.
Whole band.
The whole band. You had, of course, Kirk Hammett. You had Mastodon. Bill Burr. You mixed it up. I mean, when did you started doing this podcast? I mean, Let There Be Talk. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Let There Be Talk.
I started it 10 years ago, which is crazy. It was first called Poolside with Dean DelRay. And my idea of the show was to go to hotel pools and interview like a band member at the hotel, like they're on tour when we're poolside.
Like Chris Holmes in that one scene, right?
Right. Yeah. But that was way too complicated. So I changed it to Let There Be Talk. I named it after my favorite AC/DC record, Let There Be Rock. And that was 10 years ago. And what I did was I just basically just started talking to people I knew. I mean, one of the early guests, like the first few guests, I had Ross Robinson on, Jacob Dylan on. But once I started to get it going, I just started diving into everyone I ever used to play with. They're open. There's no agents or managers booking this. It's been me for 650, 700 episodes. So it was a struggle for a long time. I had a lot of dream guests on the chalkboard. And Mark came on. Mark was an early guest, man. And, I'll tell you, it's really great to sit down with people you grew up with also that you were only, playing gigs with or hanging in clubs and look back on how we're both alive. Let's say a Mark and, or Kirk Hammett. And you're like, dude, we're here. I was in fucking Minnesota opening for Metallica. And I'm like, man, I've known these guys since I'm 16, 17 years old. And we're in another state in another period of our lives. That kind of shit really it excites me to talk to people. And I think I love it more than anything I've ever done besides comedy, because these are people like, Jerry from Devo. I've loved Devo all my life. I wanted to ask him questions that nobody asked. I wanted to know stuff about him, like all kinds of shit.
I'm there with you. That's what I'm doing with this. Yeah. You know what I mean? I kind of want to fanboy out a little bit,
Yeah.
Do things, I try to have a conversation and kind of do things no other journalists, there's a lot of journalists who ask the same questions.
Oh man, I can tell too. When I get somebody on and they're like really rigid for the first 5 minutes, and then I start digging into some stuff, they're like, I see their faces light up, it's like, oh, fuck, this guy knows some shit. This is great. Hey, baby.
Yeah. You get the fanboy out, right? You get to go, hey, dude, I bet you fanboyed out with AC/DC.
Well, Kirk Hammett was really one. I mean, AC/DC, of course, but Kirk Hammett, like, that guy, I think is one of the greatest ever. And he came out of the Bay Area. So it was like a real like brotherhood thing there. And, he fucking just, dude, I ran into him at the Slayer last show. All right.
Okay.
I said, dude, I got to get you on the podcast. I've been trying 10 years. And he's all, cool, bro. Yeah. Kirk.
Yeah.
And then I run into him a week later at Made Worn, a guy that makes the greatest rock t-shirts on the planet, Blaine Haverson. And he goes, man, we ran into each other twice, so I guess we got to do this. Here's my number. Call me and let's set it up. And the following week, he said, let's do it. We did it at Made Worn. He brought Greenie. And he sat down and there was zero rules to the interview and there was zero time restraint. He didn't say, you got 40 minutes and don't talk about this or that. It was none of that. He was like, let's do this. And we sat down and we talked for 3.5 hours. I could have kept going, but I had to fly to Vegas to do a show. I could have had him for 5 hours.
Wow, man.
Yeah. So that was pretty Metallica, Zeppelin, AC/DC, those are the groups to me. And when I was at that Metallica 30-year anniversary, those nights at the Fillmore, I actually cried. I was in the corner, in the back corner by myself, like, God damn, man, these guys did it. And they keep doing it, man. I think about that day in the green with Cliff Burton and the world changing that day, the changing of the guard.
Totally.
Just nuts.
Totally. Dude, we're coming to an end here, but I want to let everyone know a couple of things. Please check out Dean DelRay's podcast, Let There Be Talk. You'll find so much good shit. And I listened to your Stefan Shirazi interview because I had him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
A week or so. A couple weeks ago, I had him. Great dude.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Known that guy all my life almost.
Yeah, we
Weird.
talked about you for a little bit, and you had, Kirk, you had the guys at Mastodon, Bill Burr, Ross Robinson. Did you guys get into Murder Car?
No, I've known Ross about 30 years, and we got into well, Mike's doing some crazy shit here. I don't know what it is. Hold on, let me see here.
I could hear you, bro.
Oh yeah, it was just kind of crackling up. But no, I've known Ross. We got into At the Drive-In. That's, to me,
Okay.
That's the shit, man. Mars Volta, At the Drive-In. That's some of the greatest music ever put to tape, and also, Ross is way into kind of some positive thinking and spirituality and shit like that. But we've had some great times, Ross and I, over the years. So really cool. But I mean, I've had so many people on. AC/DC. John Mayer was one of the greatest episodes ever. And okay. I will never forget those two. There was 3 hours, 2 episodes, but John Mayer doing, Josh Homme 2 weeks ago, calling me up going, "Hey, I want to come over. Nothing to sell. I just want to come on and talk." These things mean the world to me, because that is to have a go-to show that somebody calls and goes, "Hey, John Mayer called me, goes, I haven't done an interview in 7 years. I want to do a long interview. Let's do it." I was like, this is insane.
That's
all right,
awesome,
come
dude.
over. Yeah.
That's awesome. But dude, I got 12 questions I always ask my guests. Call it the Dirty Dozen. I'm going to fire them away and you answer them.
You got it.
Mild or spicy?
Oh, spicy.
All right. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
All right. A movie you could watch over and over again?
Jaws.
Dude, you are just killing it. Biggest pet peeve?
Cigarette smoke. Cigarette smokers. Can't stand it.
Hey, what are you trying to say about me, man?
If you smoke, that's fine. I just can't be around it.
Okay, I'll give you that. What time does your alarm go off?
Well, I got a dog, so she's my alarm. 7 a.m. Here she comes. Gertie.
A song you love to sing when you're all alone, Dean?
Oh, God, that's funny. But probably, damn, Evergreen, Barbara Streisand.
All right.
Off the Stars Born record.
There you go. Your dream vacation.
Oh, I'm doing it every day of my life.
Yeah. I mean, outside of it, like, let's talk about like going somewhere.
I've gone the whole planet. So I don't, nowadays it's just really simple. It's probably just Todos Santos, the other side of Cabo, the other side of, the Baja, or Joshua Tree, or Yosemite, back to Yosemite. Those are the play. I've been everywhere, man.
Okay, cool. One thing about you that probably annoys others.
Probably my drive, my drive, just like nonstop grind.
I think that's inspiring.
Yeah. But some people, like I said, it goes back to that, fuck that guy,
go back to hating. Okay. Your favorite smell?
Oh, I love the smell of, Palo Santos.
I never smelled that.
Oh, it's great. It's like a wood. It's like an incense. You burn it. It's like a wood, and it's mostly found in the desert. And I could smell it all day long.
An instrument you wish you could play?
Well, I can answer it this way. I wish I could speak Spanish better. Because I can kind of wing it on any kind of instrument.
All right. That's a good one. That's the first on my show that I like that answer, dude.
Yeah.
A lot. On the scale of 1 to 5, how good of a dancer are you?
Oh, 1.
1?
Yeah, terrible.
I'm there with you, dude. And the last question, what'd you have for breakfast today?
Oh, I have the same thing every day because I don't want to, diabetes and stuff. I have like a small handful of like oatmeal with brown cinnamon.
Okay.
And blueberries and strawberries on it. That's what I eat for breakfast.
Nice. Dean, I know you have an announcement. I have an announcement, but I want you to have an announcement first because you're coming up to the Bay Area. Am I correct? I am. I'm going to be doing Alameda May 21st and 22nd. Now, the shows were sold out.
but they released some more tickets, so I recommend you get them right now before they're sold out again. Because that's going to be it. I'm only doing 4 shows, so May 21st, 22nd.
Now, do you have plans to do any other shows other than that, maybe in LA or California, that people are watching may go, I want to check this dude out?
Well, I go on every night in LA right now. I did 2 shows last night. I did one with Burr, and then I did one on a rooftop in LA. It's kind of guerrilla right now, but I will be with Jay Buchanan from the Rival Sons, and I are going to perform together in Dallas, July 16th, I believe it is.
Okay.
And all the shows will be on the website, DelRay.com. And then I will be in Cleveland in July also. And I think Sacramento Punchline's coming up. So, just all over, just hit the website, DeanDelRay.com.
Cool. Dude, now that you announced shows, I have an announcement tonight.
Are you guys doing a show?
Yes.
Where?
Dude, I'll just say this. If you go to our website, deathangel.us,
yeah,
the info is there, but I'll leak something out.
Yeah.
We're doing a set of bastard tracks.
Like deep tracks?
Deep cuts.
Oh, those are the only tours I want to see these days.
Yeah, dude. We're doing I'm not going to say.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to watch it,
Yeah.
Tickets are available on our website, deathangel.us, dude. Yeah, is your computer up? Are you on a computer?
Yeah.
Could you go to our website, dude, and check it out? Check out the front page, bro, before we...
Okay, here we go. Deathangel.us. Here we go. Let me tell you something. The Ultraviolence is the greatest metal record out of the Bay Area besides, and this is what I always say, Bonded by Blood and Ride the Lightning. Those are the 3. I don't give a fuck what people can hit me all day long. Okay, I'm on the website. Shows?
No, it should be on the main page.
Oh yeah, here it is.
Read it off.
May 29th, the Great American Music Hall in oh man, I gotta go to this. May 20th. I got goosebumps right now looking at this, dude. Great art. We're digging deep into our catalog to perform older favorites, newer classics, and songs that have never been performed live before. Performing from the Great American Music Hall, Saturday, May 29th, 3 p.m. Wow, a day show. You'll hear the stories behind the songs and get a glimpse into the collective minds and souls of Death Angel. Fuck, I got to go to that.
You can buy tickets online.
Yeah. Dude. Oh, my God.
It's online only, dude. It's an online only thing.
Oh, so it's so you watch it online?
Yeah.
Well, I'd still drive up and just sit in the room.
Yeah, it's online. People could watch it. We're still in this state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I got a question for you while you're here, because
yes.
I've had on Andy, Rob, and Mark.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts of Frolic Through the Park? The record.
Yeah. And you get to from a fan standpoint, right?
Right.
I think it's great. It's there's some magic about it. I
love it.
It's here's how I look at it. Act 3 is my favorite Death Angel record, hands down.
Right.
I love it. Ultraviolence, the thrashy. Frolic, you could tell they were experimenting. They were like, there was, it's hard to explain, man. When I bought it, I was like, what is this? But after a few listens, I was getting it. These guys were fucking maturing and progressing so fast. They were figuring each other out. There's really good songs on that record, man.
Well, I think it's a smoking record.
Yes.
I love the artwork. I love the band's look at the time. And I can feel 100% Hate Street, Mother Love Bone, that kind of 4 Non-Blondes, the freakiness that was going on down on Hate Street, the Hate Street Fair. I can feel the Night Break. I can feel the I-Beam. I can feel all of that coming out of that record. And so it means a lot to me, that record. And I love it.
I've gone back and listened to it when, sometimes when it's on shuffle, my headphones, and an old DA song pops up, like, oh shit. I listened to that whole record now that I had time away from it. And now that I'm older, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I listen back, I go, man, this is killer shit, you know?
Oh man, I'm bored is crushing the riff. I mean, fuck. I mean, look, Ultraviolence is a masterpiece, but
Yeah.
to go from Ultraviolence and then later on put out Frolic Through the Park, man, it's just like, oh yeah. And then Act 3, you're going like, oh well, these guys are just, you know, I mean, they were just. It was one of the, I couldn't believe that I didn't quit playing music when I would see Death Angel. Look, the other guys to me were just kind of like Metallica. Once they came back from Europe, I was just kind of like, oh, well, these guys are like globetrotters now. They're just a different level. But Death Angel, I was like, well, I'm never going to be this good. You know, I'm never going to be this good.
Dude, with Act 3, I think that album solidified them as a band and musicians that they could go in any direction they wanted.
Yep.
They weren't pigeonholed. That's
Yeah.
what I love about that record. You know, like these guys could write anything and still be Death Angel. They could veer the path. Yeah, they could veer the path. Let's do some acoustic. Let's do some rock. Let's do some harmonies. I love that. You know what I mean?
Smoking.
And I'm stoked to be jamming with Rob and Mark. It's awesome.
So great, man. And
yeah.
Mark has become just a savage, man. I mean, compared to when I first saw him in the early days to, you know, a few years ago when I saw him, I was like, this fucking guy is killing. I saw the whiskey show before the lockdown. And I was just, this guy's killing it, man, big time.
Yeah, man. It's, you know, I've learned a lot jamming with those two and just hanging with those two. As you know, you've known them for a long time.
Yeah.
Those guys are, you know, great songwriters. It's fun.
And it's soldiers too. Never stopped. Maybe they had different bands, Swarm and you know,
the
organization and stuff, but still right now, just crushing it.
They're crushing it. And I'm glad they're crushing it. And I'm glad I get to be there when they're crushing it.
I know. Great, man. Good for you, dude. Good for you.
Dude, yep. Dean, thanks for taking the time out on Saturday, bro.
You got it, man. Candles lit, my man. And everybody check out my podcast, Let There Be Talk.
Check it out. There's Robin Marks on. Andy, our ex-drummer's on there. You have Kirk Hammett, all the big cats. And Dean's hilarious on that one.
Gary Holt,
Eric Peterson, Phil Demmel.
Oh, right? God. All of I did the Thrash January last year.
Yeah.
Right before the COVID, man. I was up there and I did Thrash January and it was just so great, man.
So everyone check it out. And there's some tickets left for Dean DelRay in Alameda. Go to his website, DeanDelRay.com. You know, I'm home. I'm going to have to go and purchase tickets myself, bro.
Come down to the show, dude. Come hang out.
I will come hang out. Let's do that. Yeah. Everyone, Dean DelRay, check him out. DeanDelRay.com. Dean, thank you very much, bro.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, man.